Hello there and welcome to Little Treasure. My name is Crystal Jensen. Thank you for buying this video. Today I want to show you how I make cinnamon rolls. It's a fairly easy project, so I'm gonna use my foam clay for this. And I use the whole package for one cinnamon roll, so it's approximately 60 grams. So I'm just gonna open my package and condition it. And also I want to add some yellow paint to it. Just need a tiny dollop of the yellow paint like this. Then I'm gonna blend it a bit into the clay. And now for texture, I'm using something called semolina. It's also referred to as farina in the United States. So it's just to give it some texture. I'm gonna add it and just keep blending the clay. So there's no exact measurements of the farina here. It's just so you get the texture you want. Now let's start to form it into a log. And then I'm gonna roll it on my surface. And I want the log to be approximately 55 centimeters long. This is just to ensure that the cinnamon rolls are the same size. So I'm just gonna take my ruler and check it for a size here. Looks like we're good. Then I'm taking the palm of my hand and squishing it just on the one side. So I'm sort of making a triangular shape. You do not want this to be perfect at all. The more uneven it is, the better actually. At least I think it's giving it a more realistic result. Then I take cinnamon and I sprinkle it on to the narrow part, all over the log. And I use white glitter. I'll do the same with that. And I'll just take my hand and blend it into the clay a bit. And now I'm going to take a styrofoam bowl, and it's about 4 centimeters in diameter. But first let's take the clay and let's get the swirly start. Like so, and I bend it in. It's almost like a rosebud. And then I take the styrofoam bowl and put some super glue onto it. And then I'm trying to get it into the swirl here. And now you can start to roll it up. The reason why I'm putting the styrofoam bowl inside is to give it the plump effect. And it sort of makes it look more realistic, I think. And then you just twirl it around itself. And when you come to the end, you sort of drag it a bit and put it under. Now you need to hide the styrofoam bowl, so I just take the clay and drag it over. Just smooth it out. Like so. Doesn't have to be perfect. For texture, I'm using a shower mitt. So I just go lightly over the cinnamon bun. It doesn't need much texture, just a little bit. You can also use a toothbrush if you like. Now let's try to use the leftovers here. So I just sprinkle it on. So there's no need to waste it. Now for the baked look, I'm going to use some pan pastels. This is an orange color, orange shade, and one darker. Burnt sienna. So I take a fluffy brush, soft brush, and I try to stay on the outer parts. And just brush it on. This doesn't have to be exact at all, it's just to give it some interest and, as I said, the baked look. Now let's move on to the darker shade. I'm concentrating on the underside or the edge. A little bit on the top here as well. let's sprinkle on a bit more cinnamon. And cinnamon doesn't attract bugs at all. They actually hate it, so it should be safe. And also some glitter. Now you need to let this dry for at least overnight. Just let me wash off my table here. And then we're gonna move on to one that's already dried. So this is a finished cinnamon roll, but we're gonna do one more step before we put the icing on. So you know when cinnamon rolls get baked, they often grow into each other, and when you remove them from the baking tray, they sort of pull apart. So we're gonna simulate that by using an X-Acto knife, and I'm gonna slightly score it on one of the sides. Like so, and then I'm gonna pull off some of the clay. This actually could have been a bit more dry, but we're gonna go with it. It's a nice addition to the rolls. You don't have to do it to all of them. But now let's make the icing. I'm using something called one strike filler. You just use whatever you can get hold on. It should be fine as long as it's lightweight and white. So I'm gonna get a little container and put some of the spackle into the bowl here. So I'm just gonna take some white paint into the spackle mix. This is basically just to get the spackle to adhere to the cinnamon roll batter. So I'm gonna start mixing it together. If you want to be more like a cream cheese frosting, I would use an antique white. But now we're gonna make just an sort of royal icing for the cinnamon rolls. I'm adding a tiny bit of water and I'm stirring it together. Just a little bit at a time because I want the consistency to be just right. I don't want it to be too thick or too thin. So this is too thick. I'm gonna have to put a little bit more water into the mix. So as soon as I see that it falls down from the knife, then I know it's good to go. Let's test it. It's good. I'm taking a paper plate and put my bun onto the plate because it can be a bit messy. Now I just use my palette knife and drizzle it on. As you see, the consistency is quite nice. It will stay in place. The spackle has a tendency to form bubbles, so I like to pop them using a lighter. It's probably not easy for you to see the bubbles, but I assure you, they're there. There's the finished cinnamon roll, but to give it the glossy effect you need to spray it with some clear varnish. But you also need it to dry before you do it, so make sure it's dried. And there you have it, your finished cinnamon roll. So I hope you liked this video and that you will have fun making lots of cinnamon rolls. And please do not teach this technique, but you might make as many rolls for sale or for yourself as you like. Thanks and take care. Bye.